in Congress right now. They haven't completely nailed it down, but it appears likely that for SNAP benefits, they're going to increase the state's share from 50 to 75% of the administrative costs. Your reaction to that? What does that mean in Pennsylvania?
You know, this bill that is making its way through Washington right now, seemingly being rushed through, would have a devastatingly negative impact on Pennsylvania. I've been very outspoken about that and really, specific about the harm it would do to Pennsylvanians. I know you asked about SNAP. Let me cover that and the other negative impacts. First, about 500,000 Pennsylvanians would lose access to health care. 310,000 of them would lose Medicaid, and about 200,000 would lose access to Penny because of those changes. That's a huge impact. We've got 3.1 million Pennsylvanians who rely on Medicaid right now, and so a little over 10% would lose access to health care. When it comes to SNAP, as you mentioned in your question, about 140,000 Pennsylvanians would lose access to food assistance, and they would dramatically increase, to the point of your question, the state share. I have made very clear Pennsylvania can't backfill those cuts on Medicaid or on SNAP. And there's real question as to whether or not we'd even be able to operate SNAP any longer, given the change in the formula and given the people that are going to be knocked off. Beyond Medicaid and SNAP, we have about 25 rural hospitals in Pennsylvania that are operating at a deficit, where more than 50% of their revenue each year is coming from Medicaid. By slashing Medicaid, you're actually putting those 25 rural hospitals at risk. Beyond healthcare and food assistance, 26,000 people in Pennsylvania will likely lose their jobs. These are people who work in the energy sector. And because of the devastating cuts to energy, you're putting a whole lot of people out of work and making it harder for us in Pennsylvania, a net energy exporter, to do the work we need to do to generate more energy, particularly more clean energy. I don't know why they're rushing this through and at the same time making all of those cuts, ballooning our federal deficit by $3.3 trillion, with a T, trillion dollars. It kind of doesn't make sense to me. President Trump ran on a platform of cutting the deficit, said he'd never knock anybody off of Medicaid, and he wanted more energy jobs in the United States. He's doing the exact opposite and screwing over, by the way, some of the very people that voted for him. Those rural hospitals are largely in communities that supported the president. Those lifelines in those communities are going to be taken away. A ton of people in rural communities that voted for the president access Medicaid and SNAP benefits. The president loved to hug the building trades during his campaign, and now he's pushing them aside with these cuts to energy projects. I hope cooler heads will prevail. I hope the Senate of the United States will not pass a bill that will be devastating to Pennsylvania and other states. I hope that the House and Senate will realize ramming this through is harmful, and by the way, very unpopular, and instead try and work in a bipartisan manner to give tax relief to people who need it and protect people's access to health care and food assistance.